Well, this certainly is a very dark and stormy night, if I do say so myself.
Dare I say ominous?
Very ominous. It's almost like it's going to be an ominous night. It's going to be ominous topics of conversation. We are back on this night. I'm your host, Adam, and sitting across from me is my other host, Scott. How's it going, Scott?
Not bad.
How you feeling? You feeling revved up? You
Well,
feeling ready to go?
What we're going to talk about this episode has me in the feels.
It's in the feels.
I have the feels right now. You know, I'm glad we waited a while. A lot of other podcasts we listened to, some of our friends, you know, they did this show right away, and we waited. We let it simmer. I'm glad we did.
You gotta give this topic some thought.
I mean,
this particular thing.
I've read certain things about it now. I've had time to reflect. And now I have some opinions.
You
Adam.
do?
Yes.
I have some opinions too.
Wait, what are we talking about? Tell the people what we're talking about
We are going to be talking about the final episode of Game of Thrones. The series finale.
Oh, I keep wanting to say season finale. But no, it's the series finale.
We are done.
That's so much more real. I mean, it's one thing if they took another 2-year break. I mean, that would suck. But no, this is a forever break.
Some would say they should have taken another 2-year break, but we'll get into that.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
Okay. We may be joined by some guests later in the show.
Possibly, yes.
It's a possibility. We're going to see how this goes, but right now it's you and I getting things started. What'd you think?
What did I think?
Now, are we going to talk about just the series finale? Or are we going to recap on the entire, how we felt about the whole series?
Here's what I think. I think we should talk briefly about the series. We're not going to go into a synopsis like we usually do. We're going to go through each scene it's been too long,
right?
And I don't really want to do that. And I'm sure you don't want to hear us do that either. You've seen the show, I'm sure, so whatever. We're going to talk about how I think we should talk about how we felt about the series finale. Did we think it was a good end? Did we like the way the characters ended in their arc? And then I think we should go back and talk about the show by itself with season 8 added on to it. What do we think about the show, the end of the show? I've got a question for you. Do you think, and I want you to think about this throughout the show, do you think this goes down as the greatest show of all time? The greatest television show.
That's bold.
The greatest television show.
That's bold.
Yes.
That's bold.
It's very bold.
I will have to think on that. I will stay tuned to the end of the episode, and you'll hear my answer.
Yes.
I want an answer from you, too, so good.
Yes. I've been considering it, too,
okay.
and I've been thinking about it, so...
Okay, so since we're getting right into it, we're just gonna bring in... How about 2 special guests?
Yes, 2 potential special guests.
Yes. We're going... she's been on the show before. Has been a long time, hasn't it?
It has.
So, my lovely wife, Kristen, who's a big Game of Thrones fan, just like us, Adam. She watched every episode. We watched the series finale together, so she's got an opinion. But the other guest is going to be my daughter, probably running in and out of the episode, so bear with us. So go ahead, Adam, Kristen. What'd you guys think?
I'm curious to know what you thought, Kristen, because Scott and I have been talking about this for a while, and I haven't really been able to gauge your opinion. Do you think it was a satisfying ending to the series, given the series as a whole?
I feel like there was closure, but I'm not going to say that I 100% agreed with the closure they provided. I feel like it could have been worse, but I would have liked it to be different and much better, in my opinion.
Or did you? I don't know this. Did you read the books at all?
I did not.
You didn't read any of the books?
Just watched all of the series, yeah.
I will say this. I agree with you. I think the ending could have been way worse. I called it episodes way back in the middle of the season, who was going to end up on Iron Throne.
You're not the only one.
I called it because I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I could have thought of at the time, this person being on the Iron Throne. Bran the Broken, on the King of the Six Kingdoms.
Who 2 episodes before said, "Oh, I'm not Bran anymore." And
I have no desire to rule.
I'm still Bran.
I have no desire for power. That's not why I'm here.
Why do you think I came here?
Yeah. So
he's playing everybody for a fool. That's what it is.
I think the writers are playing us for a fool, but that's just me.
Or you could look at it if we look at it in a literary term, if you're reading the books. And like I said, I didn't read the books, but when you see something like the original tragedy from Bran in the beginning of the episode, you could look at it as a foreshadowing for if this much horrific tragedy happened to this individual, then his time will come to shine again. So I guess if I would have thought about it a little bit more in the beginning, maybe I would have seen that as foreshadowing. Like, I should have known that was going to happen. But I'm assuming, like many other viewers, I got caught up in everyone else who was, fighting for the throne, and Daenerys and Jon, and just kind of slipped my mind that I should have thought that there was probably more coming for Bran.
Let me ask you this then. Who did you suspect was going to end up on the Iron Throne originally before you saw the episode? Who were you hoping for? You were team who?
Well, I have to say this. I was team Daenerys for quite a long time until this final season. And then I was no longer team Daenerys.
I was always team Dany.
Always? From the beginning, even as she was burning women and children?
Then I felt like it was probably more fitting.
Who did you jump ship to somebody else, or you were just like, I'm done, I just got to see who's going to be the
end? Like Jon.
I do. I liked Jon, but I knew that Jon didn't want it. And knowing how much he did not want it and how much he was a follower of her, I assumed that kind of wasn't going to happen. And I kind of felt the plot twist coming of, is she going to kill him? Is he going to kill her? I mean, we all knew that something was coming, but I saw a change in her, and I that's what the writers wanted. They wanted us to see that, and I saw that change in her, and it was not something that I liked anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
I was team Jon Snow from the beginning, and for all the same reasons you just said. He didn't want the throne, he doesn't want to rule, and I'm like, that's like the classic fantasy story arc end of
Agreed.
Like a king. Like,
put the humble guy on.
The person who doesn't want it is the person who's right to rule. So
there you go. Then Bran just said it a couple episodes ago. I don't want it. And there he is.
But then he makes a claim of, like, when Tyrion's like, Bran the Broken, we give this to you, will you accept it? He's like, fool, why do you think I'm here?
I know. Why do you think I came all this way? He gets all cocky.
He's like, what do you think I'm here for, buddy?
Yeah. So, but he would be cocky about it, because in his mind, he's known that he was destined to rule all this time.
There are a million trillion characters that have better stories than Bran.
There are. I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Like, I would rather Daenerys be on the throne. I would rather Jon be on the throne. I would rather freaking Cersei be on the throne than Bran.
Or there could be some of these humorous characters. Like, what if Bronn was on up on the show? That would have been amusing. At the very end, all he wanted the whole series was his castle. He just wanted his castle. And what if in the end he was just sitting there on the Iron Throne? Nobody left.
I'm gonna say this briefly, real quick. So the man who doesn't understand what a loan is now master of coin. Tyrion seasons ago had to explain to him exactly the point of a loan and how a loan goes about. All of a sudden, this dude is not only master of coin, but during that meeting at the end, he seemed to know what he was talking about.
Oh, but I loved it. I loved that banter at the meeting, because he started to get smart with them, and he was like, well, the master of coin would be providing once, I loved how that banter at that final meeting. I did enjoy that.
The last small council meeting, yeah. He's the Lord of Highgarden now, and that's where all the money is, so...
And I do like that some of the characters who remained were some of my favorites. Like, I very much liked Bronn. I very much like what they knighted her.
Brienne of Tarth.
Brienne of Tarth. I'm glad she's there.
That was a good, yeah.
Yes, that's a good
and she's
character to
captain
save.
of the guard.
Yeah, so I mean, some of the people who are still around, I'm very, very glad that they still are. Obviously, I didn't want Jon to die, so the fact that he was banished was whatever. And Arya, I don't know.
What did you guys think of the ending for Jon Snow in particular? So they sent him back to the Wall.
It's fitting, because that's where he belongs.
So, but like, he's not at the Wall though. He went north with the Wildlings.
There's no need for a Wall anymore.
Who are they?
They're friendly with the Wildlings. There's no more White Walkers.
And they very much appreciate him and would still look to him for leadership. They like him. So,
but like, the person who's like the man of honor, the person who obeys all his commands, is all of a sudden just gonna be like, all right, I'm out. You guys.
How do we know he's not coming back? How do we know he's not escorting the Wildlings to their camp?
This boy ain't coming back.
You don't know that.
I don't know. Yeah, it's open for interpretation.
I don't think he is either. But you know what? Good for him. Good on you.
I mean...
They don't need a Night's Watch anymore.
I mean, you don't... Well, here's the thing. The one thing I do agree, the reason why you need a Night's Watch isn't so much for defense of the realm, but it's what Tyrion said at the end, which I do like the way he put it, is there's always going to need to be a place for bastards and the downtrodden, the people who can't get by. There always has to be a place for those people. And it's kind of like a way, like, look, if you're on the streets or you're a criminal...
So Jon gets to rule the throwaways? Is what you're telling me?
In the United States, we call it the prison system.
Well, yeah, but this is better than the prison system. I think.
absolutely.
Gets all the juvenile delinquents.
Yeah.
The prison system's
Yeah.
absolutely horrible. Yeah.
So I guess there is a need for a Night's Watch, and the wall's magical, so you can't really like tear it down or anything like that. So
I mean,
the
dragon kind of did.
yeah, but the dragon's like fire dragon. It breathes fire, so that's different.
Was the blue?
Have you never read a fantasy book before? God.
Was it blue fire or was it like ice?
The hottest fire there is, blue.
Well, it was blue fire,
White
but
fire
it
is
burned.
not, isn't it?
Well, it goes from like orange to red to it's either red to orange to red, and then it goes like blue and then to white.
Yeah, so white would
That's-
be the hottest, then
yeah.
blue, then yeah.
So, what did you guys think about the dragon burning the Iron Throne? How did you think about that? What did you?
There's one thing that I wish would have been done differently. Darn these writers. Darn them to heck. Because when the dragon saw that Dany had been slain by Jon and it goes all bat crazy and it burns the Iron Throne, it was very metaphoric.
Mm-hmm. And I took it that way. We have a couple. I think we've all talked about this. We have a few different twists we have on this, or takes on it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get a drink.
I
Get a
wish-
drink, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Here's
need to
what I
drink.
wish would have
This
happened.
woman drink.
I wish the dragon would have let loose fire on Jon Snow. And as he was burning, he walks out of the flame completely stark, no pun intended, stark-ass naked, with his junk hanging out right there for the world to see.
Oh, they don't do that anymore, though. You haven't seen that in like 5
You have-
seasons.
Yeah, you have. But there he is, naked, with all his clothes burned off, but him perfectly fine. Just like Daenerys was in the early seasons.
Well, then, do you think then that would mean that it's just Targaryens that are immune to fire,
Yes.
or was it just Dany being special Dany?
It could mean both things. It could mean Targaryens are immune to fire, and he's part Targaryen, that's why. Or it could mean, oh, well, Dany was special. I guess Jon is special, too.
And
Could
and
mean, yeah.
to add on to this, I know, Adam, we talked the other day that we had a little different take on the burning. I looked at the burning kind of metaphorically as if my mother can't be on the throne, then no one will be on the throne. So it was more like avenging. Like
Yeah.
no one should. If Daenerys isn't going to be on the throne, then I won't let anyone be on the throne. And I looked at more of like avenging her,
Right.
Where I know your take was slightly different. I mean, it was on the same line, but a little different.
It was within the same category, just forks off in a slightly different direction. My take on it was, and I've heard a lot of other people talking about it and read it, that basically the dragon burned the throne because Dany's had this obsession with getting on the Iron Throne her whole life, and now it's basically brought her to her death. And it wasn't Jon's cause. Jon isn't the one that caused her death. It was the Iron Throne, this obsession. So it burned the throne to get rid of that, and
Get
then,
rid of the evil in
And
the
then
world
it
that
picked up
possessed her.
Dany and flew off into the sunset to eat her or whatever.
Was it going to eat her?
I don't know.
Kristen thinks she's not dead.
Yeah.
You said you think she's not dead.
I said I bet somehow magically
Some
she comes back to
Dragon
life.
magic's
Yep.
gonna...
Save her.
That's one of those things we'll never know, though, because it's
I
the end of the
know.
series.
I know. It's up for interpretation. Whatever
We
you want
won't
to
know
believe, you
until
believe.
George R. R. Martin gets off his keister from sipping tea at fancy restaurants and finishes the.
He's
dang
not a
book.
young man.
No, he's not.
He's on borrowed time. He needs to get this done before he kicks the bucket, and we'll never know.
Well, I'm gonna go and try and read the books. They're extremely long books, and some of them can be a little long-winded. But there's a lot of different stories that have differed from the books, as they tend to do, from the show. But there's a lot of like really important ones. Like apparently there's a third Targaryen that exists in the books alongside Jon and Dany in this whole story arc thing. And he plays a big role with the Three-Eyed Raven and all this other stuff. So there's a whole different other stories that they just left out from the books that they didn't do in the show. So I want to go back and read those, and because I'm curious about
How many
those.
books are there? A Song of Ice and Fire?
I think there's like 5 or 6 now, something like that. I don't remember.
Going
can't
back
think of
to
it. I think it's 5.
Bran, and I know
Yes.
Scott, you can piggyback off this because I had this thought and you took it even further than I did.
Oh, I love this.
But when I said I really thought that if I was one of the writers, it would have been fitting for after that last small council meeting. The comment was made because they're, your grace, and they all say it off timing, and he says that'll improve, and Bran says, I'm sure it will, and Podrick pushes him off.
So Podrick's in the King's Guard now. Which
Yeah,
is
which I
so
like that
great.
too.
Yeah.
But as he's pushing him off, I said I really wish there would have been more of a dramatic moment there where he pushes him off and the rest of them are kind of just bantering in the background, and he goes around the corner and he tells Podrick stop, and he would just stand up and walk away. I said I really would have liked that. And Scott
I
said
love-
Scott took
I
it even
approved of
further.
Here we go. Here's my thought. Writers,
I just
if
wanted
you're
him to
listening.
stand and walk away.
So Sir Podrick wheels him into his chambers, and he excuses Podrick. That's enough, Sir Podrick. So he leaves, closes the door. So Bran is by himself, sitting in his chair, and that's when he slowly stands up on the power of his own legs, walks over to the table. There's some wine. He pours himself wine, takes a drink of it. There's a sword also sitting there in its sheath. He picks it up, unsheaths it, looks at it, puts it back in. Then he walks over to the window. This is the best part. He blinks once and his eyes go all white, like he's warging.
Like the three-eyed raven.
Blinks again and his eyes are the bright blue, like the White Walkers. Blinks again, the show fades to black, and that's how it ends. Oh, baby! That would have been so BA. Oh man.
It's interesting.
What do you think about my thought there?
I think both thoughts are very interesting. In my opinion, it wouldn't be a show end to me. It wouldn't have given me any closure because I'm like, well, now we got this whole other story that they're not going to expand on.
You said this to me before. Good. Why not? Maybe they just leave it on a cliffhanger. Shows have done that. Shows have ended with the.
I hate those shows.
Yes, they do, but they exist. They exist.
I want if you're gonna have a series ending, I want done. Done. Story arcs are finished. We know what happened to everybody. All that boring nonsense. Whatever. They live their lives. I want to know what happens at the end. That's what I want, and that would just add more story arcs. If they did that and they were like, by the way, surprise, we're gonna do another season. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is
How
interesting.
many people talking on the internet were like, oh, Bran's the Night King. Bran's the Night King. How many people said that?
There was a lot of people that said
There's a lot of people that said that. And this would have been like a cool little, I don't know, just a little Easter egg that would have been like, oh my god, what the hell just happened?
On a side note, which I'm straying away from the Bran thing now, but how do you guys feel about, and it's kind of insignificant, but I liked it, so that's why I'm bringing it up. I liked that when they sat, that the North would not join. That the North remained free, as it always had been, so that Sansa could still rule. How do you feel about that? Especially since it was her brother.
Part of me thinks that because she was with Littlefinger the whole time, there's part of me that's like, maybe she was playing it the whole time. Maybe when Dany came, she was like, I'm not gonna bend the knee to this woman. I got a whole plan of my own. That would be fitting for the show, I guess. I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with the Six Kingdoms being six and then the North being on their own. Because North is always kind of... To me in the show, the North has always felt like its own kingdom for the most part, even when it was part of the Seven Kingdoms.
I agree.
And they talk a big game like, oh, we don't do that in the North. Northmen don't do that. They always talk about the Northmen and how different they are and everything. So they're a bit more hardy, a bit more rough and tumble, so to speak. So I'm absolutely fine with it,
I had a feeling she got that power and kind of liked it. But at the same time, I feel like it may have been out of respect for her brother. They really wanted Jon.
Yeah.
They were really pulling for Jon. And when Jon wouldn't do it, I mean, technically it was still her brother. I mean, Bran is down there. But they really were pulling for Jon. And I think out of respect for him, they kind of were thinking, we won't follow anyone else. We wanted you. They didn't want Daenerys. They didn't want anybody but Jon.
Let's talk about the Starks just running things. I mean,
the Starks
Jon Snow, who is part Stark, is Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
Did he go back to being Lord Commander though? Did they give him?
There was nobody else left.
But my point is, did they do that or
fill in the blanks? Yes, he's Lord Commander.
I would assume he is.
And you've got Sansa, who's the Lady of Winterfell, so basically in charge of the North.
Queen of the North.
And you got Bran, who's the King of the Six Kingdoms. The Starks are ruling everything now.
It's almost very poetic given the way the show started.
Absolutely.
Very poetic given the way the show started. That they tried to silence Ned Stark. They ended him early in the season. The Lannisters were like, oh, we're going to rule. And now the Starks basically own the entire continent for the most part.
I mean, when you look, let's go back to the Bran discussion. Bran falls, gets paralyzed. Ned Stark, everything that goes on with him. Look at what Sansa went through.
Oh, it was
Arya
horrible.
without a face and all. I mean, they went through so much. It is only fitting that family should triumph.
Jon died and came back to life.
I mean, that family should triumph. I guess we should have figured some of that out.
I wanna ask you guys, what did you think of Arya's ending?
I was just gonna interject. Yes.
You had said in the previous episode or a couple episodes ago that you had a way that when Arya, what's his name?
Gendry?
Gendry. When Gendry professes love and she denied him, you were like, Arya wants it, but she's just afraid or whatever. And now we have confirmed proof that she does not care. That she does not care about the life of a lady and all that other stuff. She doesn't want to be married to someone. She wants to adventure.
I was shipping hard for Gendry and Arya. I did. I wanted her to be Lady of Storm's End, but she still could have been a badass warrior, tough, just because she wasn't like that. I love how it ended with her, though, going off into the West. Very, very tokeny.
Yeah.
I just think we could see more of that. There's going to be some spin-offs. We already know this. HBO's taking a page out of Disney's playbook, and they made a ton of money off the show.
Yeah.
So they're going to continue to drain it for what it's worth. They're going to make some spin-offs. That would be a great spin-off.
I was going to ask.
Arya's Adventures in the West.
I want to hear what you think about that, Chris, but I was going to ask,
Westeros?
would you watch that spin-off, like Arya's Adventures Beyond, West of Westeros? Like, would you watch
I would
that?
definitely try. I would start it. I would hope that it would be captivating enough to hold my attention, because I did really like her story. But I would have a sneaky suspicion that it wouldn't hold water.
It would be Fear the Walking Dead-y?
Yes, yeah. It wouldn't hold water to the rest of the series. So, I mean, I would try. I would probably try any spin-off from it, just because I enjoyed the actual series so much. Like, if they wanted to have Jon's Adventures in the North, although there's not much going on up there now, I probably would try to watch
Jon's Adventures in the North.
Arya's Adventures in the West.
So, but what did you think of Arya? Would you think it was a satisfying end for Arya's character?
I did. Arya was kind of the wild card, I guess, with the family. I mean, she was badass for sure, but she was a wild card. She didn't care a thing about power. She didn't care a thing about leading, being a lady, any of that. So when she got to the point where she was, the trained assassin, and she just wanted to, she had her list, and she wanted justice, and she wanted to avenge. And now that if she feels closure for that, she's thinking, I just want to see what's out there. I'm done with this. I have closure in this part of my life, in this part of the world. I think it's fitting for her. I really do. To go see what's out there and continue to, she's kind of like the fight the evil, the good versus evil kind of character. I mean, a lot of them are, but she really was, for me, she embodied that, the good versus evil. So go see what else is out there that she could be fighting for justice, the justice fighter, I guess. I don't know.
All right, I want to know if you agree with me on this one, but I have my vote for probably worst ending to a character in the entire series has to go for Grey Worm. Let me.
Yeah, but so what?
Let me go into that. But here's what I'm gonna go into. It seemed like when they introduced him and he had been going through the series, he had such a rich character to him. Like, he had grown as a character, and then even in this story, here's my biggest problem with the Grey Worm's ending. So Jon takes out Dany.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they just instantly take Jon out? Why did they capture him? That is not within the Unsullied's repertoire. That is not what they would have done. In my opinion, if the Unsullieds found out that Jon was the one that took Dany
they had
out,
no mercy.
There was zero chance, I think, that they would have taken him prisoner. Zero
Was he
chance.
in charge?
Grey Worm? He was leader of the armies. Like,
yes, but
Dany made him leader.
But they're also so loyal. What's the order of, obviously Tyrion was out of the picture.
Yeah.
So Jon was out of the picture.
She had only named one other head person, Grey Worm. Tyrion was Hand of the King. Obviously, Jon was very important to Dany, but he's obviously out of the picture for leader. Who else would lead but Grey Worm? Who else could you name that? Nobody.
I don't know.
I imagine.
Did they go to Davos or one? I don't know. Who was left?
Yeah. What about Sir Davos?
Who was left? There has to be somebody.
What about Brienne?
An Unsullied is a soldier.
Yeah.
They need a leader.
Yeah.
If you don't have a leader, you're nothing. So he had to defer to someone.
But he also chucked a spear into that Lannister person when Dany destroyed the city. He also did that. Yeah, I know you're pointing. So you
what did he looked up at Dany riding the dragon, waiting for her cue. When she took off and started torching the place, that's when he did it. He didn't do that on his own. He waited for her to initiate that.
I believe
he waited for her to initiate it. They need a leader.
I do believe that if Dany didn't start doing that, he wouldn't have done it. But I also believe that he did that of his own free will because of revenge against Missandei.
Oh, no, there was absolutely passion in that because he was mad about Missandei, but he wouldn't have done it. And he saw her do... They're mindless automatons. That's what they are. They follow orders. Plain and simple. No way around it. That's what they were trained to do. There was somebody who had to give them an order.
But they had character growth. But they had character growth since then. Danny had given them growth since that point. That, yes, they follow orders.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
I don't believe
there's
that.
some things that are nurture, some things that are nature.
So your argument, Adam, is you don't like that they captured John.
You
feel like he should have just taken him out right there.
I feel like yes, I understand what you're saying, Scott.
Do you know how people would have lost their minds?
I know,
that's the problem.
But that's
with
my point of the writing of Grey Worm, where like the idea that John takes out Danny and all of a sudden he's captured. Like, let's be honest, if the Unsullied see him. They find out that he killed their queen, the person that they basically almost worshipped. Like they find out that this person took him out. You think they're gonna lock him up and wait for the rest of the?
Well, yeah, because how angry was he after Missandei? I mean, he was, and so was she. So was Daenerys. They were just on a rant. I mean, they just warpath because of her.
He is gonna cut that dude's head off.
Yeah,
real quick.
Yes, he was loyal. I agree, he was loyal, but. He was, there was a fire inside, just as there was with her, which is why she showed no mercy there.
Yeah. Which also makes it which continuing on to when they have the council meeting, it also doesn't make any sense the fact that Grey Worm is going to stand there and he's going to make such big claims of, no, you guys don't understand. We don't do what you tell us to do. This is our city. We've taken it over. And then after that bold statement of, we're independent, this is our city, he switches immediately to, okay, what do you guys want to decide to do? What are you guys going to do? He even makes a point, like, Tyrion starts to speak up, and he makes a point, like, no, we don't listen to you. Like, you're a prisoner. And then Tyrion's like, look, I understand you don't listen to me. But, however, and then goes off on this big speech. It's like, Grey Worm would have slapped him in the face or something. Like, no, I told you we don't listen.
In the back of his mind, he knew that he was leaving. And the Unsullied were leaving. He said that. He did not want to stay in Westeros. They weren't from there. It was a foreign land to them. He never felt comfortable there. So maybe he's thinking, I'm just ready to get There's two women I've ever loved in the world, and they're both dead because of this godforsaken
And you don't
place.
think he's going to take the rest of the Unsullied and the Dothraki and go to war over that? You don't think that he would just say, you know what, we're just going to fight to the last man at this point?
No, I don't.
I think he still knows his place.
We've got nothing left. We have nothing left. You know, like even the council said it. Even Davos was like, "Look, we're just trying to avoid a war." Even like Tyrion told Jon that, like, "Look, they would have gone to war over this, so that we had to make a compromise." Even Tyrion said that a war would have started.
I don't know. I do kind of go back to he followed orders. He followed a leader. That was always his MO for being the Unsullied. So I feel like he felt like my place is to back down at this point.
That's fair. I just feel like that explanation denies his character growth throughout the show, is what it does.
I see that. But okay. I just feel like that's probably why.
You can't have unicorns and rainbows at the end for every character. And I think Grey Worm, unfortunately, was somebody to be sacrificed in this. Like, he didn't have a good time. He didn't have a good time at all.
No,
and you can't. Some of the other, it worked out in the end for a lot of the characters. Not for him, and that's okay. He's gonna sail off to what's the island?
Her hometown, yeah.
Where there's those like venomous butterflies.
Yeah, and they're all gonna die.
Yeah, they're all gonna die.
That's where she was from, right?
Yes, that was where she was from. All right. So overall, do you think this episode do you like the episode? What do you think about the episode, and what do you think about the season? Do you think it was fitting closure for the entire series that we love?
I'll go first because I did not like the ending. I didn't like Bran on the Iron Throne. I'm sorry. I just think there was potential with him. When he was north of the wall with Hodor and the chick and her brother, and when that was okay. That was a good story arc for him. But after that, it was just like blah. He was a very ordinary character. There was so many more, like I said earlier, there was characters with better stories that could have ended on the throne. A million of them. Tyrion could have been on the throne before him. But I was like, oh, well, nobody's going to want a dwarf. Nobody's going to want an imp on the throne. And I was like, well, nobody's going to want a, what are they called? Handicapped person on the throne either. And Chris was like, oh, what about FDR? Oh. And I'm like, well, you did say that to me.
I did. And then I said, well, nobody really knew at that time. because he did all his interviews from the waist
He
up.
wasn't. He didn't go by FDR the Broken.
No, I understand that.
He didn't brag about it.
No.
No, but I just didn't like Bran ending on the Iron Throne. I really don't. I think there could have been a ton of other characters that I would have liked to see. Other than that, the season, I liked the way it started out. I loved the Battle of Winterfell.
It was a fairly good episode.
After that, the season went downhill. It could, like you said this earlier, it could have ended on the Battle of Winterfell. And I was like, no, there's so much more we gotta see. Now that I've seen it, I'm like, it could have ended on the Battle of Winterfell. Yeah. Like, it was so great. That battle was so great. That episode was so good.
Yeah, I felt like you could have swapped the two plots and you could have taken care of the throne early on and then dealt with the dead at the end of the series.
But the series in general, I want to hear what you guys think about the last episode and the last season. And then I'll talk about what I thought about the whole series in general.
Okay,
Kristen, what did you think about the last episode and the last season?
Okay, so I don't love Bran on the Iron Throne, but I'm not as bothered by it as you seem to be. So the last episode, like I said, I feel like it provided adequate closure. I don't love that he was the choice, but the other storylines I feel wrapped up fairly well. I liked the final season. I liked some of the heartfelt moments that I felt took place. Like, I absolutely loved the scene between Tyrion and Jaime when he freed him.
Yes.
I loved it. I mean, I felt like they captured the drama of that moment so well. I absolutely adored that scene.
I loved the scene where Jaime knights Bran.
I like that too. Yeah. There were just some scenes that I thought these are just amazing character closure. You were getting that story, those characters. The one thing that bothered me more than even Bran on the Iron Throne is think about the series as a whole and how no matter what happened, what family was always there to screw it up and throw a wrench in it all for you?
Lannisters.
The Lannisters. And how easy was it for Jaime and Cersei to just, oh, well, they're dead now. Yeah, they're under that rubble. I'm like, seriously? Like, I truly, I watched that episode and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. They're going to crawl out from under there. Or they're going to move a brick and...
You're going to see a gold hand shoot up
I'm
through
like,
the rubble
there's no
and make a clenched fist.
way.
There are 6 stones in the hand. And also
like,
you hear...
How in the world?
Cersei for Infinity Gauntlet in 2020.
That bothered me more than Bran on the Iron Throne. I'm like, how in the world are Jaime and Cersei just done? After everything the Lannisters, the hell that they put the characters through this whole series. And it was that easy to take them out?
Yeah.
Like, really? That bothered me.
There was no fight. I wanted a battle
I was appalled.
Bigger than the Battle of the Bastards. I wanted a battle bigger than the Battle of the Dead.
I was appalled at how easy it was that they were
something
just done.
Huge. That's what I wanted for the end. I agree with you. I think the most unbelievable part of that was the way that Tyrion found Cersei and Jaime. And when he moved those, 3 blocks of stone, and they're there, and they only have a few cuts on them. They're not. I think they should have been mangled up or something like that. Realistically, I'm like, come
mangled up and tangled up knots. Yeah, it's like they had 3 rocks on them.
Yeah,
that a little imp was able to move.
Yeah,
real easy. They probably should have just gotten a couple boo boos from that, but no,
they should have been buried. They should have been buried. That's, I don't know. So.
But also, I because like I said, that bothered me the most of everything in this last season. That it was that easy to get rid of them. But going back to my whole thing with the Starks about how they went through hell, essentially, and these are the people that are coming out in the end, and they're shining. Tyrion was the same kind of situation. Look at his childhood. Look at his backstory. Put through absolute hell. Wasn't appreciated. Says that to Jaime in the end. You were the only one who treated me like I wasn't even a human being. Like I wasn't dirt on the bottom of someone's shoe. And in the end, good.
Tyrion's the Lord of...
Good over evil.
Tyrion's the Lord of Castle Rock right now, right? Yeah, he's
he would have to be. There's nobody else there.
Not a bad gig. Not a bad gig.
So that was my take on it. The Lannisters bothered me more than anything, and I didn't want them to prevail. I just wanted it to be better.
I almost would have wished that they would have gotten away. Here's why. I almost wish they would have gotten away because then that would mean that there's another Lannister out there. Similar to the way the Targaryens ended, there's another Lannister out there That, similar to the way of like, oh, you want
Oh,
that.
dude, I like it.
You wanted that foreshadowing for Bran of like, oh, there's something else going on. They would have gotten away, or at least Cersei would have gotten away, and you would have like seen her in childbirth at the end, and then born the very last Lannister.
How about this? Tyrion goes down, sifts through the rubble, moves about 3 stones, and he gives a funny look.
Because there's Jamie.
No.
Oh.
Nothing there.
Oh, I was going to say Jamie,
and
but
then
not
they
Cersei.
cue to the rowboat with Jamie rowing her in it.
And holding his side like, oh.
And her holding her gut like, oh, but them going.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
But Daenerys wanted bodies. If she wouldn't have found bodies, she would have assumed they got out.
Yeah, but do you think
Tyrion
reported back to her what he saw? Like literally, like he went to go see if they made it out or not, and then he went to go with their little Nazi speech, and then that was the extent of it. And then he threw the hand of the pin of the hand of the queen down the steps. There's absolutely at no point did he tell her, by the way, Jaime and Cersei are gone. So,
she would have found out eventually.
I don't think she had time, given the events of the episode. So.
All right, so Chris, I know you got to get going. So, what do you think? Did you say what you said about the series in general, from the beginning to the end?
No, we haven't done that yet. We didn't.
Let's let her do it because she's got to go.
Okay.
So what do you think about the whole thing?
I mean, that's quite a broad question.
It is.
I don't know. I
liked it, loved it.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, I loved it.
Okay.
Sad that it's ending. Very sad that it's ending. Almost would have wished there was that crazy plot twist just to get one more season. I loved it. I love the series. I loved the character development throughout the series. And as much as we were kind of chastising the writers right now and how we wish they would have done other things, I don't know about you guys, but I can't tell you how many times throughout the whole series as a whole, I went from, hating a character to loving them, or liking a character and then not, and then maybe going back again. I mean, I feel like they made the audience connect with the characters and truly bring up that emotion. I mean, think back to like the Joffreys and the, what was it, Ramsay Bolton? Yeah, and how much you could hate them. Yeah. But for so long, I disliked Jaime. And then I found myself really pulling for him. You know what I mean? Like
we used to love Daenerys, and toward the end, we were kind of mad at her.
I feel like they did a very good job with connecting their audience with the characters. I did, which is why I can see why you're upset with the whole Grey Worm. Yeah. Because if you feel like that went against where his character should have been, I mean, I can understand that, because you did find yourself connected to the characters, which is why I liked that scene with Jaime and Tyrion so much. I felt like, oh my God, these brothers, and it was emotional. You felt like there was closure there. I felt personally like I needed that for the characters, which sounds silly, but I feel like the writers.
No, I get it.
I feel like the writers did that for the audience, which is what would leave me wanting more. Not because there was the cliffhanger or because I'm wondering, but I wanted more of that. I felt the closeness to the characters and how I changed with them. I guess. I don't know, for lack of a better way to put it. So that was definitely my connection to it.
One final question before you take off. I know you have had a busy day and you need to get off. But if you had named one of your daughters Daenerys, would you be mad right now?
I would have never named my daughter Daenerys.
I know you wouldn't have. But there's a lot of.
But I would have. We thought about Dany, because I have a cousin, and we thought about Dany. No. You know what would have pissed me off? And this is, I have friends and family who thought about other names from the show. My Lord, I'm gonna see so many Aryas and Sansas and Dany's and Daenerys's in about 5 years in school. Because how many people named their children that?
Eva has a friend in her class that's named Arya.
Yeah, like there's going to be so many because of this show. So I wouldn't have went that route, just because I know when this, these bandwagons get on, people start naming their kids these names, all of a sudden there's going to be all these Aryas for just about, a chunk of 5 years, and then it's going to fade away again. So that would have been, if I would have done it, the one reason why I'd have been like, damn it, everybody's naming their kid this now, and now my kid has the same name as everybody else, because I'm one of those people who doesn't want my kid to have the same name as everybody else. But for reasons of why I believe you're asking, by the way it ended, and how she changed, and how I decided I was all about, Dany and woman power, and then I decided to not like her so much, no, that wouldn't have bothered me. because I feel like I still like her as a character. I started to dislike her actions at the end, but I didn't hate her.
Yeah.
So
There are a lot of people out there that were really upset. They're like, "Oh, Daenerys, oh, Dany, all day." And then the second that episode came where she torched the city, they were like, "I named my daughter that, and she's gonna be
jeez.
connected with this. What are you people doing?"
no, let it go, people.
Yeah.
There's bigger things in the world.
The male names are way easier. Like Edard, you could shorten that for Ed. You know, you could be an Ed. Or like John, you could just weird spelling John.
John.
Yeah.
John's a name.
Yeah.
Jamie, a name.
Yeah.
We named the dog Tyrion.
Yes, Tyrion. Oh, honey, not cool.
What?
Not cool. Brandon, common name. Bran.
Yeah, Bran.
All right, well, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely.
coming.
Definitely, thank you very much.
Yes, we wanted to get a fresh opinion. The listeners have heard Adam and I discuss this show ad nauseum the past however many weeks now, so thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Talk to you guys again.
All right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you even get a chance to tell you what you thought?
Of the
I think we skipped you, didn't we?
It's possible.
Okay, so now it's your turn. What did you think of the final episode? What did you think of the final season? And then, what did you think of the series as the whole?
So, the final episode, let's start with that, obviously. I have a really weird thought. At the end of it, I was weirdly satisfied with the end, but I don't think I was satisfied with how it ended. Let me explain that. Like, what I mean by that is, I think I don't like the way a lot of characters ended. Arya, for example, I like the way she did. Sansa, fine. Jon and Dany and Bran, obviously, I don't like that. I think I felt good about it because it was an end. It was like a sigh of relief. Like, this is done. We finally know the end. We finally know that what's happening, and I no longer have to speculate. So I liked it in that sense. Do I like the way it ended? Not really. Like I said, there's a lot of... I've said it the entire season that we've been talking about. There's a lot of characters that were written that I think betrayed the kind of character they grew into. So I'm not a fan of how it ended, but I like the fact that it is over. The season itself, I think it goes without saying.
Is it season 9?
Season 8.
Season 8?
Season 8.
Okay.
Season 8, as far as the season goes, I'm with you. The first couple episodes I really enjoyed. I like bringing everybody together. You've heard my opinions of the Battle of the Dead, Battle at Winterfell. I thought it was a really good episode that ended very disappointingly. I thought the ending was extremely disappointing. I thought I wanted to see more of the Night King, and the Night King comes into one fight and he's destroyed. That's fine, but I mean, I wanted to see more of it. I wanted to see, more battles with the dead. I want to see them deal with the dead more than one episode. But I guess they ended it in this whole 7-season arc of building up the Night King and the Army of the Dead. It all ends in one episode. So I thought that was really disappointing.
Well, I've read something since the episode airs. Let's shit on the writers some more, and the creators and the directors.
Oh, you don't have to ask me.
Let's shit on them some more, because what I read was HBO actually offered them 14 episodes.
I think I said it on the show.
Well, no, I had heard 10. Because this is actually what happened. HBO says, we'll give you 14 episodes to end the series. And they were like, we don't need 14. We'll do it in 10. So 10 episodes. Well, then as they're filming, then they come back to HBO like, we're going to finish it in 6. 6? And the reason is, Adam, motherfucking Disney.
I told you. I told you.
They got that funny Disney money thrown at them because they're doing the next 3 installments of the Star Wars.
Well, the new trilogy. It's not going to be, from what I heard, it's not going to be like the next 3. It's going to be a different Star Wars trilogy.
Right, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right on that. Anyway, the next trilogy of the Star Wars franchise will be done by the Game of Thrones guys. And they're like, shoot, we got to get out of this. We got to go over. HBO's great, but Disney, that's where it's at.
I mean, if they would have said, dude, can you give us like 20 episodes? HBO would have been like, all right, it'll keep the subscriptions flowing even longer.
You know how many subscriptions HBO lost when that show ended?
I'm sure a lot.
Tons.
So that's
yours.
I still have it right now only because I kind of want to go back and rewatch the series as a whole, but there's nothing else on HBO that I like. There's
I
nothing
hear
else
that
I
show
watch.
Chernobyl's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm never gonna watch it.
I've heard good things. I haven't tried it yet. but-
There's enough on Hulu and Amazon Prime right now that I'm like I can get into and not worry about that. So, so that was my thought after the Battle of the Dead. It was for me pretty much all downhill. All downhill after that. So I guess it would be a very lackluster and disappointing season to end things off. If we're gonna talk about the series as a whole,
Yes, let's do this now.
I love this series.
Me too.
I love it so much. I thought it was
Here's
great.
what's-
Despite the last season, I will still say that I love it.
Here's what's so special, and actually I wish Kristen was still on here for this, because she can attest to this. It is such a great series because look at how many podcasts there are about it. Look at how many social media posts there are about it. Look at, like, sports stars and movie stars and pop stars, and people just talk about this show. It is a cultural phenomenon. People at work stand around the water cooler and they talk about this show. This show has everyone talking. It has caught the country by storm. And I think that's spectacular. I love seeing that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're somebody who has not watched this show, what is wrong with you?
There's a few.
I
There are
know.
a few people.
And they love to tell you about it.
Yeah.
I'm part of the 1% who'd never watched a Game of Thrones.
Well, then you've missed out. I'm super sorry. Anybody who's never seen the show and thinks you're sticking it to us because you want to claim you've never watched a show, you've just missed a great story. That's all. That's
Yeah.
all you're telling me right now. Like, it doesn't make me feel any. It makes me feel bad for you. You've missed a great story.
The meme I love that has the lady that says, waving her arm, chasing down the ice cream truck. Ice cream truck stops. What'll it be, lady? Nothing. I just want to tell you I don't watch Game of Thrones.
I've seen that meme before. The
It's
memes,
so accurate.
the memes this show
Oh.
has brought to
Game
us.
of Thrones
Like, come on,
memes.
come
Game of
on.
Thrones memes.
So all in all, I say the series, I liked it. Despite the fact that it teetered off at the end and it was a very disappointing ending, I do still like the series, and I still think, I don't think it ruins the series, is what I'm going to say.
I love the series. I think it's excellent. What do you think? Greatest of all time?
Let's get into that. Greatest show of all time. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if I can think of another show that I loved more than this show. Like, obviously, it's one of the most successful shows of all time. It's made a ridiculous money. How many, was it 13 million people watch or something like that in the final episode? Like, it's absolutely drawn attention, and it's a very successful show. As far as stories go, shows that have drawn me in more, Breaking Bad is a close second, I think. I think I was very drawn in by that show. But Game of Thrones might be my most favorite show as far as stories are concerned of all time.
Okay, so saying something is the greatest show of all time, the greatest is a very relative term.
It is very relative, yes.
I mean, what classifies as the greatest? The greatest this, the greatest that. So...
Bear in mind, I never watched Dexter or Sopranos or Lost or any of that stuff. I never watched
I
those.
watched Lost. I watched Lost.
So-
No, it's not my radar. But a long time ago, long time ago in a galaxy far away, on this very podcast, we did a top 10 favorite TV shows
Probably
of all
the
time.
hardest list you could probably do.
We did a top 10, and I need to go back and re-listen to it because I don't even remember my top 10.
I know my number one.
I think
do
I know
remember.
your number one too because you gave me shit for it not being my number one.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't know why I would have given you shit for that.
I thought your number one was Scrubs.
It is Scrubs. But I don't know why I gave you
Because
shit for
Kristen,
it, though.
actually, who was just on our show, was on that show with us too, and you both had Scrubs
Oh,
as your
yeah,
number one,
yeah.
and I think
Now
I
I
had
remember.
Scrubs as my number two or something, and you guys were like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
What's
really?
better than Scrubs?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, sorry, Jesus H. Christ."
I still probably like Scrubs more than Game of Thrones. But
Really?
But as far as story goes, probably the best story.
I'm saying this right here.
The best thing that drew me in.
Maybe we should go back and redo our top 10 TV shows because if we did, Game of Thrones would be number one.
For you?
Yes, I would redo my list. Game of Thrones would be number one on my favorite TV shows of all time. Can I say it is the greatest show of all time? No, I can't. But it is certainly in the conversation.
Yeah.
It is up there because of what I said, because of it got everybody talking. Even the people who don't watch it talk about it. talk about how they don't watch it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing. Getting people to talk about it. It might not be the greatest, but it's certainly up there. And it is my number one, my favorite shows of all time. So if you go back and you listen to our old episode, throw my list away because it's all new.
You'd probably have to go back and re-listen to it just to remember your old list anyway.
Yeah.
I guarantee if you did it, I guarantee if we redid it, it would be completely different.
I might have had Game of Thrones on the list back then.
It's possible.
But it was like so early that it didn't... it's number one now. It's number one for me.
That's fair. So you're not disappointed in the show at all? At this point, like overall series?
I would honestly say I love the series so much. Even though I was unhappy with the last episode, and I was kind of unhappy with the way the last season went after the battle with the dead at the Battle of Winterfell, I still think the last season was good. I do. I still think it was good, even though the last, half of the series.
Half the season.
But the first 3 episodes, a lot of people don't like episode 2. Because it was a setup to...
It was very stale.
I loved it. It might be my second favorite episode in the whole...
I think that people that don't like episode 2 don't understand what Game of Thrones is. Game of Thrones is a show about people talking.
Yes.
And about things being said.
But a lot of people shit on episode 2. I personally liked episode 2. Obviously not more than the battle itself, but I loved it. I loved episode 1, loved episode 2, loved episode 3. Episode 4, episode 5, and episode 6... not so much. But because of that, I'll take a 50%. I like the season. Yeah. And I love the show.
When I say I didn't like the season, I guess I would say that I didn't like the writing. The music,
the writing,
cinematography, all that stuff, the acting, everything like that was all on par. All of it was on par. I guess I don't like the writing. And writing is really bad when all the actors come out and say the writing is really bad. Or they fake enthusiasm for the season.
So we already know that HBO is doing a spin-off series that's a prequel that takes
like
place
1,000 years.
1,000 years before that. So it's like the First Men and the Children of the
Probably,
Forest.
I would imagine.
We don't know too much about it. We don't know anything else. What else? Are they going to do more than just that?
They have to. They have no choice because it's their biggest breadwinner, I think. Like, if they don't have Game of Thrones series pumping out at least one, like, every year, then it's like, what are people going to subscribe to?
I want to see them beat it into the ground. I want them to play so many Game of Thrones series like Disney does with Star Wars, like AMC does with The Walking Dead. I want HBO to make us bored of Game of Thrones. I want it to happen. You heard it here first.
I don't.
I want it to happen, so we can't say, well, what if? There's no what ifs left to the imagination.
I don't want them to... I don't mind doing a couple spin-offs, but I don't want them to beat in the ground like that because I don't ever want to get sick of Game of Thrones. I don't ever want to say to myself, oh, you know what? Game of Thrones is a good show. I don't know. I'm Game of Thrones out. I'd love to be able to go back, I'd love to be able in 2 years be able to go back and you know what, Game of Thrones is a really good show. I'm gonna go back and rewatch it. That's what I want to do. But if there's all the series, I'm not gonna want to do it.
But do you agree that Disney has beat Star Wars into the ground?
I do believe that's why they're taking a break from it. Because
everyone on the planet says Disney has done a little too much. They've oversaturated the market. Does that take anything away from Empire Strikes Back? Absolutely not, Adam. Empire Strikes Back is a classic that will never ever do wrong in my eyes.
It will never do wrong in my eyes, but I don't want to go watch Empire tomorrow, though. I don't want to watch it tomorrow.
I might. Why not? Why not?
Because I'm Star Wars out at the moment. I don't want any more Star Wars at the moment. Like, I watched that Solo movie. That was the last Star Wars movie I watched, and I'm like, I'm done. I just can't do it right now. I would be too exhausted to do it. Too exhausted. But good show.
Good show.
This is the last time we're going to review any Game of Thrones unless they do any spin-off series. This is going to last.
Well, we know we're going to get one spin-off series. We may have to review it just because.
Yes. We might have to.
I'm sad. It's like I'm saying goodbye to friends.
It's also free content. We have not had to think of anything new to do in the show for the past 5 episodes.
I'm sad to see my friends go, but all good things must come to an end.
Circus Spock.
Dracarys.
If you want to get a hold of For Distraction and let us know what you thought of the final episodes and the series as a whole, do you think it is your favorite series of all time? Email us fordistraction@gmail.com. We're on Facebook and Twitter. Search For Distraction at Podcast FYD. We're on SoundCloud and iTunes. Search For Distraction. Rate us, comment, like us, share us with your friends. We grow by you helping us grow. We're also a member of the Be Real Podcasting Network. Head over to Podbean and search for the Movie Guys podcast. That's our unofficial hub for the Be Real Network.
Did you watch or listen to the Movie Guys review on it?
Of the last episode?
The last episode?
One
of them, was it Jordan or Ed? One of them predicted Bran.
Yeah, it was Ed. That was Ed.
Ed predicted Bran. You predicted Bran. My stepdad predicted Bran. I'm like, what are you people thinking? And then he fucking was, and I'm like, oh my god.
I only watched half of it. I watched it live on YouTube, and I only watched half it just so that when they got to that point, I could comment furiously, I predicted it too. I want to be one of those a-holes. Like, I knew it, and none of you knew it.
Nice job shit posting.
Yeah,
nice
very
job
much.
Trolling. Okay.
Very much so.
Right.
So,
I'm sad to see him go. I'm sad to see him go.
I'm sad to see you go, but I don't mind watching you leave.